All right, we are live. Hi, everybody. Travis Saxton, an Executive Vice President of Technology at T360. I'm here with some esteemed individuals in the residential real estate space. Derek Taylor, my colleague at T360, who's coming to us live from South by Southwest. And I've got Nick Van Velkenburg and Pierre Sabag from Roof AI. And they're an amazing technology company that's really focusing on transforming the consumer interaction, engagement, and personalization in real estate. We're going to learn a little bit more about Roof in just a little bit. Derek, to take us through a little bit about where you're at, what's South by Southwest, and some of the insights you're stealing from this amazing event.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Travis. It has been an absolute whirlwind. Everything AI, I mean, that's the basic theme of everything. But it gets a little bit deeper where they have this theme of AI and it's the ability to enhance and not replace humanity, which I really love that idea. They've started a new company, or there's a new company that's been around for just a little bit, but they just got $100 million Series C funding. And they're a company called Humane, HU.MA.NE. They're launching an entire software platform and an entirely new form of personal device built around AI. It's being founded by Imran, I'll butcher his last name, Chaudhuri, and Bethany Bongiorno. Both of them are former Apple designers, and this product is going to be amazing. They're calling it like a disappearing computer, no screen, all AI driven. That should be launching this fall. So like they won't even show you what it looks like. It's going to be so mind blowing. We'll see what they do with it.
That's crazy.
Some hot topics. I know you're looking at all kinds of augmented reality, virtual reality areas in real estate too. Today, we've got experts in AI. And I want to actually go back. The first question, Pierre, I'll pose this to you and Nick, is, AI has actually, or artificial intelligence has been around for a while, but I don't think past vendors or vendors that had rolled out artificial intelligence in the last maybe 6 years did it a very good service as it relates to what we know of today, what actual artificial intelligence was. I think some of the early things people would disguise machine learning and very logic-based algorithms as artificial intelligence. And so it kind of got a bad rap when it came out of the gates for real estate. Tell us a little bit about your experience, and have you experienced any of those challenges as you guys are actually doing artificial intelligence?
Absolutely. I think a couple of things we experienced in the past. One is, I think, at the beginning, education around AI. So what is AI? What does it mean? Is it, to circle back on Derek's point, is AI coming and taking our job? Is it replacing somebody? So there was this probably lack of education at the beginning, where the kind of fear mongering around AI was a bit on the heavier side. But now, since we're seeing more companies, more actual AI being developed, including the ChatGPT and the OpenAI stuff, people are getting more educated around it. And now I think the pendulum is swinging back on the other side, where every company now is slamming AI next to its name. So there is some noise being created at this point, where it's hard to distinguish signal from noise. But back to your point, at the beginning, yes, some machine learning stuff were really hard to figure out if they were more machine learning or kind of decision trees and stuff like that. So it was a bit hard to be able to distinguish what type of technology is AI from actual math and regular programming code. So I don't know if you want to go a bit on our side, how things are falling into the AI space, but we see AI in our stack basically in two buckets. One, natural language understanding, being able to capture the intent of the consumer, what the consumer is asking about, and two, building the personalization recommendation engine to tailor the experience for the consumer. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's basically...
No, that's great, and that's the same experience we had. Is just misconceptions, a disservice to the term. And I think people wanted to use that buzzword early on. Nick, talking about, real estate and how AI can impact real estate. There's lots of examples, and I'm going to take you through a couple. But how are you seeing both ChatGPT and AI creep into conversations and the appetite from the industry?
I think ChatGPT in general, unfortunately, a lot of agents aren't copywriters, so it's difficult to be coming up with content on a regular basis, whether that's blog posts or property descriptions or just email content that goes out. So kind of the first thing that ChatGPT can do is help augment a lot of that and really start the process. But I think it's important to understand the downside of that. It's not an all and done. Like ChatGPT doesn't just create your content and send it out. We had a conversation with Real Estate News a few months back, and we were talking about some of the use cases, and we were talking to a copywriter, and she was like, well, I'm not really concerned with this taking my job, but I do like the idea of it kind of helping me out. And I think back when I was in college, when I had to get ready for a presentation or I was doing research, I had to go to the library and go through all of the peer-reviewed articles, and I had to go through that process. And then Google came about, right? And now I didn't really need to go to the library as much. I could actually Google what I needed to find. But that came with a caveat because Google didn't always tell me the truth. I don't know how accurate some of these articles that I'm reading are, because anybody can put something on the internet. And now you're getting to ChatGPT, which is also bringing a lot of that content up that may not be accurate as well. So you have to be careful. And a good example, when we were talking to Real Estate News, is she put together give me a property description for this property. While it did a very good job, the height of the ceiling was off because it wasn't part of the description. So I think it said it had a 9-foot ceiling when it was an 8-foot ceiling. And I want to say there was something about the backyard that didn't exist. And so you still have to monitor it a little bit. But I think it does a really good job for someone that needs to have content, needs something relevant to put out. Like, how do I start that process and get something, and then I have to edit it at that point?
Yeah, I've started using it just from a speed perspective. The other day I was looking for a brokerage in the Pacific Northwest, and I just asked ChatGPT top 10 brokerages in Seattle and Portland, spit them out. And obviously I could have gone and pulled that data from our almanac and stuff like that, but it just was quicker for me just to, and I didn't need it to be perfect or accurate. I just wanted to know whether there's anybody I'm missing that I could reach out to talk to about a new program that we're running. We also used it to create our new podcast that's launching, I think it's next week, Digital Java Jive. We couldn't think of the name. We wanted to mix coffee and real estate. So we asked ChatGPT, mix coffee and real estate and create us a name for our podcast. And it gave us like 50 names. And then we had to go and vote on them. And we ended up choosing one that ChatGPT picked for us.
I love that.
And then I saw internally, we were inviting some folks to the T3 Summit, our leadership summit in May, which you guys will be at. And we said, write an invite for this person to come to this event. And we just put the link in, and it just wrote the whole invite for us. And it was pretty good. And so we had to tweak a couple things, but you're spot on. We're using it in regular day-to-day activities. Derek, how are you seeing it being used in real estate now? If we break it back down to what does it mean to the listeners?
So I think in real estate, just like in every other knowledge profession, right, that it's being used so that it provides an agent with an assistant, kind of a creative assistant, a writing assistant, a way to actually flesh out some ideas that they don't really have ready yet, to make their workflow faster, to make their emails better, to make content better on their websites, and all of that, it's still not going to get rid of the agent, but it's going to make that agent a lot more productive, a lot faster. And I think with the launch of ChatGPT 4, which just came out yesterday, it's going to get even better and easier. I don't know if you guys saw this, but GPT-3's got 175 billion parameters. GPT-4 has 100 trillion parameters, and it's just growing so quickly. But that just means that there's more data being pushed into it. So I think that's in real estate, we're going to see it kind of explode in not only generative AI creating words that we want to say, but I think really, really soon because ChatGPT is ChatGPT-4 is multimodal, that means we're going to be able to mix text and images in the workflow that they're doing. We already have images with DALL-E 4, but this is like kind of mixing them together and giving you this one interface instead of two. And that should be really cool.
I love that idea of it, ChatGPT being like an additional employee, if you will. Like you guys are utilizing this on, hey, give us some ideas on some names. I think that's really super inventive, because now you've got another person in your think tank, and then you guys can kind of go through that. Bridging the kind of the gap between ChatGPT and Roof AI and our chatbot, which I'll make sure it only talks about real estate. You can't ask it to do any think tanking for you. But our brokerage partners that are using it today create a persona, and that persona becomes an employee of their company. At a consumer level, when I'm on the website communicating and I'm getting recommendations about properties and we're going through that process and I'm getting the help that I need, I may reach out to one of the brokerages and say, hey, I was talking to Ebby, I was talking to Gabby, or what the name that they've used, because the emails and what they're getting from us actually are coming from that persona. So it's almost like you get a additional resource in your company, that forward-facing resource, if you will.
To paint a good picture around Roof AI, I want to kind of go back to one of the biggest pain points in real estate, as I see it, is, real estate agents, the inventory, the MLS, the listings. We have a lot of fragmentation around how we leverage consumer behaviors and information. And I'll frame it up a little differently. Is traditionally, we work so hard as an industry to end up engaging a consumer, a buyer or seller. I'm going to use the buy side for an example, because we're going to go through the website search process. So I work so hard to get that predefined criteria of 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in Highlands Ranch, Colorado for $500,000. And maybe there's a little bit extra there, but that's like the holy grail. Is we really want to capture that search criteria so we can get them on an MLS listing search or listing alerts or whatnot. And then we sit back and we pray. Like that's literally our industry. If you look across it, is we sit back, we pray, we hope there's something on the market that matches the consumer's needs, when in reality, no other industries really work that way. And you look at Amazon, if you went to search Nick on Amazon and you picked and you were looking and your search came up with flat results or nothing really fit your criteria, you think Amazon's going to sit there and let you go away? No, you're going to be getting emails and you're going to get re-engaged and you're going to find things that are related to your search. And Netflix does that too. I got a new Netflix result just yesterday, like a new show that you might be interested in, drawing me back in. And we don't really do that in real estate unless it fits that box that we put the consumer in. So that's a good segue into personalization in real estate, and how, Pierre, I'll ask you the question: how is Roof AI putting shining a new light on personalization in real estate?
So the goal that we created Roof AI to basically achieve 2 things. One is being able to help. So we know brokerages and agents, they provide an amazing personal experience offline. They do it amazingly. They build relationships, they tailor the messaging, the communication with their customer offline very well. And we looked at the experience online in real estate, and we noticed that the same experience is everywhere. Like open any real estate website today. You go on the website, it's the same thing.
Yep.
The website doesn't know you. And if you want to have any sort of customization, you have to create an account, set a password, save your search. It's very clunky. It's still very old. And compare it to what you said, you go on Amazon, you don't have to do much work. Amazon has already profiled you. It used the first party data to build the experience and the preferences on you without you having to do the job. So we took this concept and we brought it to real estate. So what we did is we deploy Roof on www.realestatebrokerage.com. And the goal of it is turning their website into a personalized experience. So you go on the website recognizes you, knows what you've done, resumes your experience, do all of these things online. But then we added a bit more to it. What we did is we we wanted to go after the consumers who are dropping off the site. So you go on the site, a typical session lasts for a couple of minutes, but what happens when you drop off? So we build this personalizing engine through email campaigns and nurturing to be able to bring back consumers on the website. So it's kind of this holistic experience, consumer experience, online and offline, to be able to power brokerages and agents and help them bring this personalized experience that used to be offline online. So we wanted to give the same feel, the same experience. And that's actually what consumers are asking for. Like you look at the experience on Uber, on Spotify, on Netflix, as you mentioned, like all of these consumer-facing experiences are very tailored. And real estate has been lacking for many years. And that's our premise. And that's why we built the company.
Yeah. And I think anybody that's out there that's scared of AI, this is a perfect tale or perfect anecdote of what we want. I don't want to see ads for whatever that's not related to me. I want my content personalized to me, and real estate is no different. And I also know that real estate's not black and white, right? Like it's not 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in Highlands Ranch. What if there's a 4-bedroom in the next neighborhood over that fits my eye, but because it's not in my search criteria, I don't get it. So how do you get those gray areas in real estate too to help the consumer? So that's another thing that I think really needs to be changed, is how we think about the whole experience of buying real estate. Nick, I know you wanted to say something there.
I was just going to say, I like the Netflix example, kind of 2 things. One, could you imagine the success of Netflix if every time you logged in, you have to reset your preferences and you had to say, I like comedies, I like documentaries, and I like reality TV. And then it's like, okay, here's some things that might fit. And then I log out and I go back in, I have to do it again. And that's the experience that I'm getting today on a real estate website in most cases.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If I may add, Travis, there's also the evolution of the consumer journey, meaning you might start your search with a $500,000 house, but as you start through the process, your criteria evolve. Like your safe search at the beginning has to evolve with you along your buying journey while you're looking for different houses. That's where AI can follow you and profile you and look at your preferences and build this profile and grow this profile based on what you're doing and the preferences that you have. So it works agnostically behind the scenes without you having to set settings and update stuff and save stuff. So
Nick, let's talk a little bit about Roof and how you do this, because Roof is a personalization and engagement platform for real estate. It's not live chat, it's not email marketing, it's not lead nurture. It's that engine, underneath the hood that's driving all of these engagements and conversations. Take us through the 5 key areas that you guys truly impact. And I'd love to hear from your perspective how Roof really helps the brokerage and the agent and the consumer.
Yeah, I like the idea that we are a brokerage provided solution that's wrapped for the agents, intended for the consumer. And I think that's an interesting thing to wrap your head around. Like we're working with the brokers, we're providing value to the agents, but we're providing a unique experience to the consumers. And I believe, and I've heard this on multiple different webinars and podcasts, that's kind of where technology is going. Like, how do I, at the very top, reach the folks that are buying and selling properties? What's being asked and kind of what we've been able to combine is, as a brokerage, I'm spending a lot of money, a lot of time and effort marketing different campaigns, using social ads, using Google AdWords, and all the different pieces to drive these eyeballs to my site. And as Pierre was saying, in a lot of cases, I've got 2 minutes to snag somebody because they've maybe landed on a listing that we have, and they're looking at that listing, and then just like they see a squirrel and they're off somewhere else, right? So how do we get them right there? So all of the effort that you're putting in, how do we convert that for you? Another very interesting thing to think about is, in this current market, web views can be down, listings are down. Like, how do we maximize an ROI with the folks that we're working with? And we've actually been able to bring in all your core services. So for those brokers that either own their own or have partners in mortgage, in warranty, your recruiting, your relocation, all of these different pieces, how do we bring all this in and surface it at the right time all the time? And then when the leads come in, how do we nurture those leads? How do we get them back with intent on the site? And we're utilizing also the chat, but also the email pieces. And how do I get somebody back to the site for multiple sessions. That's how you get a sale, right? We need somebody to come back and not go to your competitor and not go to one of the portals. Like, how do we get them and keep them on your site? Also providing higher performing on your website. So you want your website to perform a lot better. That experience is going to do that. And then add your email marketing. We'll automate that for you. And you kind of have to think that some of this email marketing your agents are providing, this is most of the time before you're working with an agent. So this is that new employee, that new persona on your website that's providing a very similar value that your agents will be providing once we've made that connection. When somebody asks, like, let me go look at this property, or I would like more information on this property. Like, let me get you in touch with a realtor. And then, of course, enhancing that consumer search. So as I go onto the website, one of the things I'm really looking for as a consumer is I want recommendations. I don't want to drive all this myself. I would love to be able to go to a real estate website, just search for properties, have a window pop up and say, hey, I've got 6 other properties that fit that search. I would absolutely love that. And the folks that are using this on their site absolutely love that, because I'll click on that and I'll give you my information, because I do want help. You know, when I go shopping or something like that, there's kind of 2 ways you can go about it. I go to Nordstrom's and say, I'm looking for a new jacket for a conference. I can go spend 45 minutes browsing through all of the racks. I don't know where anything's at, or I could just ask somebody that works there that knows the whole floor. You're gonna have a better experience when you're like, hey, here's my size. I need some help. Boom, here's 3 things that could fit you. Just think about that experience for a minute and translate that into the consumer search.
And the nice thing about those 5 areas you just mentioned are they go right down the list of a survey that T360 did on 10,000 agents, from lead generation, lead nurture, to high performing websites, to email marketing. There's so many things that you guys do and agents want in the industry. And they align very nicely. So I know agents out there, when you hear those words, like, I want a high performing website, yet you don't have the energy or the resources to be writing blog articles and stuff like that. So how do you make your website work for you rather than you have to work it? Right. And that's where Roof AI comes in as an personalization and engagement platform. It goes from engaging on the website to engaging after they leave the website, and bringing them back and re-engaging them. And I love that story of really truly tailoring and personalizing those messages on behalf of the end user. So fellas, let's talk a little bit about what's on the horizon. 5 years from now, what are we going to see from artificial intelligence, whether it's roof related or not? I'll start with a fun story that just the other day, it really caught me by surprise, but we had an accounting platform, Loft 47, reach out and talk about their new ChatGPT reports that they've built in. And I was like, what? And so now, instead of figuring out in your accounting platform where you got to go to build these reports, you can just ask ChatGPT. It'll build the reports for you and serve up the reports. So you no longer have to be a reporting expert in your accounting system. And then, Nick, I think you mentioned something about
my favorite one, Slack. Yeah, Slack now has, or they're coming out with a ChatGPT. So now I can not really communicate with my fellow employees and my teammates. Like, I can just let the automation. There may be a world where we could have done this whole webinar or just have the AI do it for us. But what's the fun in that?
I do remember when ChatGPT first came out. Derek was like, this is going to be big. I mean, this was months ago. And I was like, Derek, go for it. Go have fun with it. Go play with it. And within a day, he was coming back and he actually broke it. Derek, tell us about how you broke ChatGPT. And
Well, I mean, part of ChatGPT, and it wasn't necessarily ChatGPT, but what we found a way to actually ingest some information from CNN. I wanted to take CNN articles and news feeds, and I wanted to have them converted into videos where there was someone talking and giving a summary of that video. And I was just basically saying AI explains news to humans, and that was kind of a YouTube channel I thought would be fun to launch. And it worked so efficiently that the generative company that generated the video shut me down and wouldn't even respond to me anymore because it was creating so many videos so fast that it didn't know it didn't want me there anymore. So
but it's happening, right? Like, people have YouTube channels where a automatic video is generated with content or a question being asked or answered from artificial intelligence, and the video is actually an actor speaking. Crazy, huh?
You know, what's interesting, there's a new platform that's launching that is it's like a webinar platform, but it can be used otherwise, but basically takes your webinar. So Travis Saxton or Roof AI delivering a webinar to the public all over the world in multiple languages at once and using your voice in Japanese. So you will be talking and it will take your voice and it will instantly translate it into, say, Japanese or 100 other different languages. And the user experience, being where they're based from or what their native language, is uninterrupted for a live event. And that's something that's happening right now. It's really cool.
Wow. Pierre, what are you seeing 5 years from now?
So I definitely think we're going to have, each one of us going to be able to have a digital assistant that has the same voice, tone, language. You're going to have a digital assistant that does the communication, does the summarization, does the content generation on your behalf, using your tone, your language, everything. Hopefully it doesn't have my accent, but that's a different thing. This is on the kind of the generic AI space, and we all want to have that. I was reading the other day that companies, fast-growing companies who have big marketing teams, they kind of struggle at the beginning by being able to train their team on the same tone, the same language, the same content, and AI can solve this very, very easily. So put this on the consumer side, and on the individual side, we're going to be able to have AI send the emails, respond to the emails, do all of these things on our behalf. So this is on generic side of things. On the Roof AI side, I think we're going to be building the same thing for the agent. We want to empower the agent to be able to focus on what they do best, while their Roof AI being able to handle the consumer interactions, nurture the consumers, be able to interact with the consumers on a personalized level and at scale, the same way they do it, basically themselves offline.
And there'll probably be in the future more touch points, more content, more
100%.
More of the agent personalized too. Like, who knows, there could be a digital twin in your future, right? At Roof, sending a lead conversion, nice to meet you type of thing. There's so many things that you could do. Nick, how about you? 5 years from now, take us home.
I would love for a lot of that to happen, having a personal assistant and then have more personality that we work. So we're working closer with people because the AI is doing other things that maybe we don't want to do. And through my whole real estate tech career, one thing I've always talked about is just automation outside of AI. Like, let the machine automate the things that you don't necessarily need to do, that the machine does great, because the machine does not do the person very well, right? So you don't want to just put somebody in the system and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I'm ready to buy this home, and then the home gets sold. Like, you want to do those interactions, you want to take them on the tours and work with your clients. So I think it's just going to be a better experience with your personal assistant and you doing the things that you like to do. The reason you're in this industry, nobody's in this industry to build blog content, right? Agents aren't excited about, I've got to put a new piece of content out, I've got to do this. Like, let the machine do that. That's down the road for us.
Very good. Well, thank you, fellas. Thank you, Derek, to coming to us from South by Southwest. Keep innovating. We appreciate Roof, and thank you to all our listeners out there.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.